it's Christy from Next Time Around, and I don't know if I've ever actually told you this, but Next Time Around is a furniture and home decor consignment store. We're located in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, which is about an hour west of Toronto. And in selling furniture, we do take a lot of used furniture, a lot of brand new furniture, and we have a lot of artisan handcrafted pieces. But we deal a lot with furniture, and we carry two lines of furniture paint. We have the Dixie Belle paint in both their chalk mineral paint and silk, along with fusion mineral paint, and everything else that you would need in order to complete a project. So we are regularly asked about what do I need to do to prep my piece in order to paint it. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there on the difference between veneered wood, laminated wood, and solid wood. So many times we have our consigners saying to us, oh, I have this dining room set and it's solid wood, can I bring it in? Or a customer will call and say, I want to paint my coffee table, it's solid wood or whatever, and it's not. So we wanted to actually kind of hop on here today, give you a little bit of a video on the difference between solid wood, laminated wood, and veneered wood, especially laminated and veneered, because those are two that I think a lot of people mix up or they think is the same thing and it actually is different, and then just how to prep each one of those if you did want to paint. So if you like content like this, I suggest that you hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we are going to be making more and more videos on how to paint furniture and different techniques and things as the such. So today, what again I wanted to talk about is the difference between solid wood, veneer, and laminate. So let's talk about veneer. So there are a few different pieces. I just actually kind of curated a few pieces that we have in at the store right now, right around me, just to make it easier for this video. So this dresser here has actually been stripped completely down to its original wood. And most of this is actually veneer. And what veneer is, I have a couple samples here, is real wood, but it is a thin piece of real wood that has been glued on top of usually a cheaper quality wood, or I don't even want to say cheaper, just not as high end of a wood. So a lot of times underneath the veneer layer could be a solid piece of wood. It could be maybe, like I said, a cheaper wood like pine or something, and they glue a thin layer of wood on top. And there's different ones, like I believe this one is maple, and this is actually even a thicker one, so you can see some are so thick they barely bend, and this one bends quite easily. And the quality of the veneer is usually a more expensive wood. So they actually literally will glue this with high pressure onto wood. And then that is one of the things that you can then finish. And again, I'm going to talk about refinishing each of those as well. And if you have veneered wood and you want to strip it down into the original wood, using a chemical stripper first is probably easiest, and then you can sand it. But because the wood is so thin, you have to be very careful with how aggressively you sand, because if you go back and forth with a really low grit, like strong sandpaper in the same spot, you could literally burn a hole right through this, and then a lot of times underneath might be particle board, and the stain is not going to look the same. The paint might not look the same, and if you're stripping it, a lot of times you may be doing that because you want to restain it. So just keep in mind that you can completely strip this off, refinish it, and restain it. Just need to be careful because, like I said, that wood, I don't know if you can see that here, is very thin. But that's one of the things that we are going to do with this dresser here. So the top, and you can see the beautiful wood grain on here, is going to be stained, but the drawers, in this case, are actually solid wood. So just because the top is veneer, maybe the drawers aren't. And that's really common, that the frames of pieces like armoires and bookcases may actually be a veneer or a laminate, and I'm going to get into that in a second, but the drawer fronts are solid. And you can see that here, and I'm going to tell you how to recognize solid wood on a piece that's a little bit easier to see than you can on this one. So this dresser, and it's a good quality dresser, look at that, even the sides are dovetailed. That again shows good quality. So you can do that with veneer. So again, you can strip that down, be careful with it, and then afterwards you can apply stain and or paint should you want. But then we have laminate, and I have a couple examples of laminate here. So laminate is actually a photograph or a picture printed on paper, and then with resin and glues, they actually attach it to definitely a cheaper quality wood like MDF or particle board or even plywood. So it's literally a photograph, and usually you can feel that there's like zero wood grain, even though they can even almost put wood grain into it a little bit, and it feels like plastic. Another example is one of these dining tables that look like they were from like the 50s or 60s. Again, this is literally a layer of plastic, and you can see that here. If I bring that closer on the table leaf, can you see the layer of plastic that has been glued to, you can see plywood, you can see all the different layers of plywood. So again, this isn't solid wood, this is plastic. Now, a lot of times people will think, oh my gosh, it's really impossible to paint on top of plastic. Well, depending on what product you're using, it may be really difficult to do, but it's not impossible. So a lot of IKEA furniture is this laminated type of wood. So if you want to paint something like this, you cannot strip this because there's nothing you can do. You cannot, either you take that off and you've got the wood underneath, but there is no refinishing by staining something that has been laminated. Here are 3 different examples of products you can use in order to make it so that something like this, which used to be called impossible to paint, it now makes this possible to paint. You can use the Slick Stick by Dixie Belle. You can use Bin, which is a shellac-based primer by Zinsser, or you can use Fusion's Ultra Grip. All 3 in this case give your paint something to stick to. And you put a coat or 2 on that. Again, clean first. I know I have a separate video that we can link below on how to prep your piece with regards to cleaning. And while I'm on that topic, first and foremost, clean your piece first with a degreaser. So whether it's TSP, it's Crud Cutter, it's anything like that that's going to get rid of any of those greases and stuff. And you do that first because you don't want to sand first and then push those greases and oils further into the wood. So clean first, and then if you have something that's laminated, you don't even need to sand it because it's just plastic. So just give it a coat or 2 of a really good adhesion primer, and then you can paint. And if you are doing the veneer, like we talked about before, again, clean first, but in this case, you can give it a scuff sand, or you can sand it completely down to the original finish and restain and or paint. And next is solid wood. This is a piece of solid wood. And what you can tell that it's solid wood is that wood grain goes right over the edge. And that is definitely something that you can really aggressively sand if you needed to, because it's, in this case, it's like 3/4 to an inch thick. So if you see the edge of something where the wood grain lines up, then you know that that's solid wood. Versus right here is an actual piece of furniture that has a veneer finish. And you can see, I just wanted to show you in this corner how the veneer chipped off, but underneath is actually a piece of solid wood. So if the top of this was so damaged, you can actually use a technique where you put wet towels on that, and that might be a separate video, and peel that off, and then you have another type of wood that you can now finish if you want to. And what they do is they run a strip of veneer around the edges too. So this would be a good candidate if I want to paint this. I would just take some, I would clean it, scuff sand it, take some wood filler, fill that corner in, and you're good to go. So you can tell veneer, because it's such expensive wood, a lot of times they book match it. See how beautiful that is on the top? They've literally cut that thin piece of wood and opened it up, and they call that book matching. And if you see a lot of wood where it all goes together like this, isn't that beautiful? That's veneer, and it can be a really great dresser. So don't think that, oh, veneer is bad. Veneer is good. You know, if you want to refinish it to make it beautiful like this, you just have to be a little careful with it. So I hope that kind of helps with understanding the difference between veneered furniture, the plastic laminated furniture, and solid wood like we have over here. All three can be painted. Solid wood has the easiest because you can be a little bit aggressive if you want to stain and or repaint it. Veneer would be the same steps, just being a little bit more careful with stripping it down. And then with laminated furniture, you would actually clean it first and then apply a really good bonding agent to it in order for your paint to stick. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.